kids out there who now don't have parents. And for what? Because of someone who got told that she wasn't allowed to have things her way. That's the tragedy.
Me go back and forth with the FBAs on numerous occasions in the past 2 years, especially. And I know by definition, I know exactly what foundational Black American means. I, by definition, would be a foundational Black American. I was the first Black American in my family basically to travel out of the country and do something like I've done. So obviously, for generations and centuries, my family has been in the United States. But my pushback with the FBAs is a large number, a significant portion of them like to do this thing that they call delineation, where they like to say that they're not African descent. And there's also a large portion of them that have
Okay,
even
I
said that
think
if a Black American has a baby with an African, such as a Nigerian,
so
who has left 3 children at home with a nanny and has been gone for 2 full days.
A disappearance without a trace.
okay, so mm, so what I was going to say, um, I think Auston, whenever he leaves Africa, there is this thing that he cannot just leave Africa alone. Because remember, the first time he left Africa, he was just going around, he didn't even wait 24 hours before he made a video claiming Africans were beggars, scammers, and the thing with me, right? For example, I think America is. There are a lot of things I don't like about America. I don't like that the society is not communal, like the country I grew up in. But I am in America because I need to be economically here. My needs are in the hierarchy of needs, they are the on the lower tier, right? But he is an American. He is not in Africa because he needs food. He is not in Africa because he's being persecuted here in America. He is in Africa because he wants to exploit women, right? So, if he leaves Africa, nothing would happen to him, right? It's not like, he will die of starvation. It's not like, he will go to jail if he returns to America, right? So, there is absolutely no reason for him to be in Africa, in a place that he doesn't like, right? Hold on, guys. You guys know that I am very I am germophobic, right? So every time you know, I have to sanitize my hands. So he doesn't have to live in Africa. He doesn't need to be in Africa. It's not like, Africa is his the only place he could, he could get security, he could get economic opportunity, economic stability, right? So there is absolutely no reason for him to go to Africa. But because he's, right wing, and this is, today, what's his name? Chris posted, on our community wall about a Netflix documentary talking about the manosphere. The manosphere basically is right wing. What do you call it? Like right wing, right? I was going to say right wing manhood, but manhood cannot be anything other. Like yes, I guess manosphere is right wing manhood, and the problem with this guy, the problem with Auston is right wing. When you are a right winger, you have a view of the world that's black and white. And you have to realize this, right wing black men, especially men like Auston, hate Africa because for them, Africa not being developed means black people are genetically inferior. That is how they see it, and that angers them. Instead of being like, what, Africa is undeveloped, maybe the government is not working. You don't have to like it. You don't have to go from Africa is not developed. That means black people are genetically inferior. But because that's how manosphere teaches this man to think, that is like, you could see how angry he is at Africa. And I'm like, why do you freaking go to Africa? Like, leave Africa alone. But we know why he cannot leave Africa alone.
That they would be having a biracial baby. And there's some people that say, Auston, you don't understand the concept of race. No, I understand it. I asked the question and they don't know the answer. And then I even looked on my Twitter post. So you guys may have seen me go back and forth with the FBAs on numerous occasions in the past 2 years, especially. And I know by definition, I know exactly what foundational Black American means. I, by definition, will be a foundational Black American. I was the first Black American in my family, basically to travel out of the country and do something like I've done. So obviously, for generations and centuries, my family has been in the United States. But my pushback with the FBAs is a large number, a significant portion of them like to do this thing that they call delineation, where they like to say that they're not African descent. And there's also a large portion of them that have even said that if a Black American has a baby with an African, such as a Nigerian, that they would be having a biracial baby. And there's some people that say, Auston, you don't understand the concept of race. No, I understand it. I asked the question and they don't know the answer. And then I even looked on my Twitter post whenever I said that about the biracial baby. And there's FBAs claiming that I'm Namibian and they think that I'm a foreigner. This tatted up Black dude with the Sonic the Hedgehog haircut, not anymore, it's shorter now. That those running around tatted up with the bird nest haircut is not an African thing. That is a Black American thing significantly. And FBAs are so delineated from Africa that they can't even recognize another FBA.
When I started Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I needed a website. Figuring out how to make one was pretty hard on the old.
So I want to watch this video and review this video of an FBA. I don't know who this guy is. He did an interaction with a Somalian immigrant that's living in the United States on a phone call. So let's have a look.
An FBA, is that what you guys call
Black
it?
American, Foundational Black American, whichever you want to call it. Yeah, sure.
All right, they'll date an FBA, and it's going well at first, but then they start talking about family planning in the future, and then they start to realize that their African culture, it's simply like our culture are better. Like, we simply don't have the degeneracy we see in your culture a lot.
Okay, well, let me ask you this one.
So
Auston is angry that a very disgusting Somalian called the Black American culture, degenerate. But here is the thing. This is what I have been saying. In Ethiopia, there is a saying, ባለቤቱ ያናናቀውን አሞሌ ገዢው ድንጋይ ይለዋል. Whenever you degrade your own people, other people are going to say something worse. Auston has been traveling, or these men have this thing that if they just degrade FBM women, other people will only degrade the female part of the FBA people. No, Auston has whatever that girl said is disgusting. But guess what? Auston and others passport bros have been going around claiming that Black American women are degenerates. So you cannot be angry at this girl. I mean, she probably felt very comfortable. Imagine being an immigrant in someone else's country. Black immigrants are in America because of Black Americans, but she is here in America, and she had the guts to call Black Americans degenerates. And that counts, and in a way, Black Americans like Auston have to take responsibility, because this is what happens when you go around. Auston, imagine me, I am here in America, and I tell people, you know what, Ethiopians are the most degenerate people. Ethiopian, you should not, they are the most degenerate people. They do this. It is so, that is such degrading, right? And that's what Auston literally went on Ghanaian news station and told the Ghanaians that Black American women stink, their vaginas stink, that the men will shoot you if you, literally, like 2 days ago, he was saying that Black American men will shoot you if you step on their foot by mistake. You cannot be saying that and then get angry when an immigrant says the same thing you're saying. You cannot, if you degrade your own people, of course other people are going to think they can degrade your people as well. She probably thought the guy would agree with her, because that's what people like Auston have been doing.
Well, after being in 11 countries in Africa and living all around the world, I've been to every continent except Australia and Antarctica. I will say that, and that's irrelevant, I'm talking about Africa right now. African cultures, generally speaking, are going to be more traditional, more conservative than Black American culture. They are less tolerant of degeneracy, to the point where these African women will be snorting cocaine and popping mollies.
You see? So he's saying the same things you're saying. And this is what I've been saying. To call Black American culture degeneracy is, of course, self-hate. Let's be honest. There is absolutely, the funny thing is that, all over the world, the number one culture that's being copied is Black American culture. And here is a Black woman hater. I mean, this probably, when you hate Black women, you're gonna hate the whole Black people. So this guy, look, he's saying the same thing she's saying. I mean,
and their family back in the village would think that they are a virgin church girl. Little do they know that their daughter is on drugs. So with that being said, I don't want to say that one culture is better than the other. I just want to say that one is definitely more conservative and one is more open and in the forefront with degeneracy. But that doesn't mean that the other one is not degenerate. And she's Somalian. I've met Somalian and women that were taking ecstasy in Kenya. So we're not going to make it seem like, Black Americans are the only ones killing each other. We're not going to make it seem like Black Americans are the only ones shooting each other. I mean, not shooting each other, taking drugs. We're not going to make it seem like Black Americans are the only ones promiscuous. I like to say Black Americans rather than the FBA, because the FBA is just, the name is just tarnished to me, because it's like a cult and it's so much misinformation. If you guys are going to create these groups of people, please charge a fraternity fee. Have some sort of fraternity fee, so when people go around spewing and dropping bullshit on your FBA or your passport bro label, you can single them out and say that's not a valid claim that this person made. They're not even one of us because they're not part of our membership. Again, you cannot go to Omega Psi Phi or Kappa Alpha Psi and say things and not be a member of them. The same way how they was beating dudes up in college for wearing the Noob t-shirt.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
And you weren't a Noob? Yeah, the passport bros and FBA need to do the same shit, because I know what FBA stands for. I know what it's supposed to stand for, at least. But you have a bunch of idiots that have tarnished the viewpoint I have of it in my brain, where I'm apparently FBA, and I don't even want to be called that because there's so many idiots under that label. Let's continue.
So let me ask you this question. If your culture is so flawed, then why are you not in Somalia right now? I mean, who's we? Who's we? Because the Hutus and the Tutsis are fighting in your homeland right now.
Also, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're going to debate these Africans about stuff, we cannot name incorrect tribes. I mean, the Hutus and the Tutsis, that conflict was in the 90s with the genocide, and that was in Rwanda, which is like a 4 or 5 hour plane ride away from Mogadishu, or at least 3.5 hours. So completely different people. Somalians and Rwandans are completely different. I mean, and I had 2 barbershops at one point. And so there was no, and I was in the South. I was in Texas, the former slave state. Like there was no, I didn't feel like my race was prohibiting me as much as Black people in America would try to make it seem right now. Like there's some Black people in the States, and I'm not trying to sound like Officer Tatum or Anton Day, I'm denying all forms of racism, but there's some Black people in the United States that are still thinking that we are living in the 1920s when we're not. Like at one point in the United States, it was illegal, or it was legal to hang Black people from a tree. It still happens, yes, but now it's actually a murder. And if somebody's getting away with it, that's also illegal. You gotta remember, at one point that shit was legal. Like you could hang somebody and there was no consequences for that. Let's take a break from the video for a second. Did you guys know that I provide resources and education for those people that want to live this exact same life? What is it like investing in Namibia and anything else?
I think he's gonna be a beggar. Begging is going to be his thing, because as you can see, people are not watching his videos any longer. They're not watching his lives because he's not unique any longer. I mean, right now, like me, I used to be like, you know what? Like in the past, I would be like, oh, look, there's someone on live. Let me go watch. But now it has gotten, there is so many of them. You're like, ew, like, and there is like, you have, it has become almost, Passport Bros content is niche, right? In YouTube, like, it's not like, like the people who watch Passport Bro are the same people. Like the people who watch Auston are the same people who watch NYC. But now, so what I mean is not, it's not like, they don't have a varied or large audience, right? And even that audience is now have become even more niche. Like now, it's like before, if you are a Passport Bro content watcher, you probably would be watching Auston. But now it has become, there are so many choices that it's almost like, if you want to watch nothing but degeneracy, you will watch Relo. If you want to watch someone who seems to be, an adult, um, in a child in an adult's body, you will watch NYC. Like it has become like if you want to watch African content, there are passport bros who just do African content. If you just want to watch Colombia, there are passport bros who just do Colombia. There are even in Colombia. So right now for Auston, he's not the dominant person that he once was. So you could see him like, almost desperate for money. And it's kind of sad to watch that.
Else that is specified to this lifestyle, to running an online business and traveling around the world being a digital nomad. I got it all for you in my expat freedom system membership. All 3 resources will be linked in the first pinned comment. If you click the link, you can become a member and you will get both the job list and the webinar that teaches you how to start your online business or monetize your skill for free. Click the link in the first pinned comment. I appreciate you guys' support. I'll see you guys there. Now back to the video.
You really think hiring random freelancers is the way to grow your social media? Surprise. You just paid thousands for posts that don't even sound like your brand. Let me tell you what happens when you let me, Soshi, handle your social media. First, connect your socials to Sintra and let me scan them for like 3 minutes. I'll learn your brand voice and style, and then I'll map out 3 months of content.
Now, with Africans and them,
have you noticed how poor he looks now? I mean, when he was in Africa, he was actually staying in better hotels, but now he, like, the hotel he's staying at is like, it even looks like, in Africa he actually had like wherever he stayed, he seems to have a 1-bedroom, like, the bedroom and the living room were separate. But now, like, it looks so poor. Like, even the bed, it's so wrinkled and everything. And that tells you that, Africa was actually better for him. And here is the thing. Auston, of course, we have Kenyans who are convinced that a lot of Kenyans are convinced that Auston is good for them, and they think when he is attacked, when he is degrading them, they actually think he's just, making a supportive, constructive criticism. And in reality, you could see how much detest he has for them, how much he looks down on them. But the Kenyans, for some reason, do not see that. They see someone who is
claiming colonialism for everything. Again, I've been in Africa a total of about 3 to 3.5 years now. I've been to 11 countries in the South and the East and the West, in the Central region. And I can tell you most of Africa's problems are self-inflicted due to corruption and a culture that pretty much encourages that type of corruption. Not to mention, Somalia had already had a lot of tribal and clan warfare before the Italians, before the British, before the French had even got there. Like, this is something that had been going on. Africans had been having tribal. If you want to listen to some liberal person that romanticizes Africa, will tell you that lions didn't even fucking bite before the white people got there. Yes, there are people that they don't say to that extreme, but if you talk to some of these people, they'll tell you, like, Africans didn't fight wars before Europeans got there. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, they're people fight. That's gonna happen. So yes, the colonialism is not the issue with everything. Yes, it did mess up as it was intended. It was supposed to benefit one side of the coin and not the other, mostly, right? There's some things that were brought to certain places that were beneficial, but Yeah, that's kind of outdated now. Like again, Southeast Asia was liberated around the same time that Africa was, and they're on a completely different scale, than Africa. So it's something else outside of colonialism that has caused Africa to not develop at the same rate and speed as Southeast Asia or any other country around the world that was liberated around the same time Africa was.
Black Americans were colonized too. We were colonized too. You're the majority. We're the minority over here. You're the majority.
Fact. That's a fact.
I don't even this doesn't even make sense to me. Whether Black Americans are the majority or the minority, that doesn't really matter because Jewish Americans are not the majority, but they are. I mean, when you this the reason I never get into this FBA or immigrant debate argument is because what it does is degrade black people. Like, oh, you are, you are, worse. You couldn't. You are, you have your own country, so but you could not develop your country, so you are. Subhuman. Oh, you live in a rich country, but you are worse than any demography, so you are subhuman. What that does, of course, is just make make racism worse. Because why would I allow racists to use me to to degrade other black people? So I did not get into that debate ever. And I am very, I have this thing, even before I lived in America. Like the very first day I came in America, I knew Black Americans were my brothers and sisters. And I will never, you degrade them, no matter what they say, because I think, what degrading them is degrading me. But this this thing where these FBA people are lying about immigrants, they claim that we get money. I'm like, not only do we not get money, like when I first came, I was sponsored by my cousins. And if I had gotten I have become poor, and if I had to to ask money from the government, the government would go after against my cousins, because when you sponsor someone, you are supposed to be financially responsible to them for 2 years. So, but the thing that doesn't make sense to me about them coming, like lying about us, is there is a reason Africans are more successful, Black immigrants are more successful than Black Americans. And like, it is because in our country, like, we are not like, for example, in Ethiopia, only 4% of Ethiopians go to college. Only 4%, like 4% of Ethiopians go to college. Whereas among Ethiopians who come to America, 44% are college educated. So we are not the average African. So of course, if you are educated, in your own country, you're going to be successful here. And the other thing is, it's not even just Black immigrants. Almost every immigrant group, except Mexicans, are more successful than the native people. And that is because we come here with education. It's not because we work hard. It's not. And that you could that's fact. But if you are going to challenge that fact, you should challenge it with evidence. With you cannot just say, well, we saw US aid. I'm like, do you know what US aid is? Oh, well, refugees get aid. I'm like, most Africans do not come as refugees. Most people who come to America do not come as refugees. Most people come as, and here is the thing, though. Here is the thing. What was that? Oh, Anyways, so this guy, he is. I mean, I don't even know why he is in Africa. To be honest, he. I mean, I know he's not in Africa now, but don't be in Africa. Like he is planning to return to Africa, and it's very obvious he doesn't like it there. And I don't even know why he doesn't go to um, America. Like, why doesn't he go to Colombia? Why doesn't he go to? Remember, he used to say Brazil has. Um, hi, Kobe. He remembered to say. You remember he used to say Brazil has black people, right? Go to Brazil. Go to Brazil. Live there. It's absolutely. It makes absolutely no sense at all for him to be in Kenya, in Africa. But we know why he is in Africa. Because in Africa, he is a big fish in a small pond. So but it's not even big. Like he can go to Colombia. They are not going to arrest him. I mean, Colombia didn't even arrest, so many degenerates, that do degenerate stuff. He doesn't want to go there because when he goes there, he's gonna be just, a sex tourist American there. But in Africa, because there are not that many passport bros in Africa, he becomes a big deal. Like when you go on his when he was in Brazil, I mean, he could not say enough things about Brazil, but you do not see like Brazilians coming on his live, on his videos to say hi, to even say hi, to thank him for saying so many nice things about their country. But Africans, oh my God, I mean, they fight against each other to get him to go to their country. So of course, in Africa, he is like a king because there's not that many travelers there. And he doesn't want to go to. I have said this so many times. I do not think Auston is traveling for women. I think he's traveling because he's running away from his mom, but because I think he is egocentric. He wants to be the big guy. Like he wants people to praise him. Look at it. Look how his relationships are not lasting with men, right? Have you noticed that almost every man that tries to create friendship with him ends up leaving him? Like, right? Look, it is so interesting, right? The relationship between him and KG. Is it King Greatness? KG basically disappeared. He disappeared. Like almost travel time with Paul used to defend Auston to the point that he used to make videos after videos attacking Keisha. Keisha? I forgot her name. But now travel time with Powell doesn't even talk to Auston any longer. The same thing with KG. Like wherever Auston has friendship with men, even with women or men, the friendship doesn't last. He cannot create strong, emotionally, supportive relationships. Because I don't think he could be in a relationship where he is an equal, like an equal. I was giving, I actually was giving, yesterday, like almost a little speech about how kids, when they are raised with dominating parents, they cannot create, they do not know how to handle relationships with their equals. Like Auston, because his mom was so dominating, he only knows how to handle relationships where he is an absolutely dominated, like his mom dominates him, or where he is dominant. I don't think he can handle a relationship where he is, in equal footing, like he is equal. Yeah, I think that is the problem. So that now look at him. He cannot have, like, when the relationship is not him absolutely dominating or being absolutely dominated, he cannot handle it. Like, you could see when he is talking, to his subscribers, most of whom are, not really that educated, but when he is in a panel with people who he thinks are know better than him, he becomes quiet. He cannot engage in that conversation because he doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to talk in a room where people are either equally informed like him or more informed like him. He becomes quiet. Like, you could see him because the Austin has. I mean, if I was Austin, I would go to therapy instead of traveling, the world like he does. Now, in Africa, he likes Africa. Have you noticed that, Kobe? Like, when he is with, like, it was so pathetic to watch because he had a panel talking about Iran, the Iran, and um, he became quiet. Like, you didn't even he was a pan, and it was not like he was interviewing them. He just was so, like, you could see his mind could not handle, like, someone who has more information than him. He just disappears. Like, he just becomes the background. So this guy can only handle a relationship where he is either dominating or being dominated. And that is the problem here, right? So in Africa, he can dominate because of his Americanness, right? He can dominate Americans. Yeah, his information is so surface level. When you hear him talking about Africa, it's almost like, oh my God, like, can you not talk about Africa? And he has this belief that you do not need to learn anything. You just have to know who is the bad guy, like who is the strong person, who is a weak person. That's like his analysis of anything is who is strong, who is weak, and that is it. His analysis is so surface level, like you say. It's almost like, yeah, he gets intimidated. He gets intimidated, and I have told you guys this so many times. I feel so very sorry for Austin for having his mom as his mom. I mean, if you watch his mom, it is so, she is like, she is my age. She is my age. My sisters, my youngest sister is, I think she will be 36 this year, and the one before her is 38. Oh my God, yes, so 38. Fikr is 38 this year. Wow. So yeah, 38, right? 38, and I will be 50 this year, right? So there is 12 years difference between my sister and but I never get compete for attention from my sisters, because I know they are this is what I don't understand, Zora, Larry, because I don't know, because he has members, right? Members. Let's say he has, like, I think the list you could do is like $2, right? And if he has about I don't know, 3,000. Like, I think he probably makes well on his videos. Like, maybe he makes, let's say, if he makes 3,000 from the videos a year, a month, and, he makes, that's what I'm thinking. But obviously, he's not making that much, right? Because he's traveling very poor, and he is basically begging. He's begging, begging, begging. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Aston has stopped doing fantasies, because what happened is, Relo destroyed his lies. Relo destroyed his lies. So now he doesn't do fantasies, but he has this. I mean, one of the things that doesn't make sense to me is when he is telling, like, he holds this thing he calls webinar. But I can talk about it, because one thing I'm not going to do from now on is say anything that might affect Austin's income, because it's not. But I don't have a lot of people watching, so I could say this. But he has something called webinar, and the webinar is supposed to teach people how to do remote jobs like him. That part is so strange to me. I actually do remote jobs. Like today, I think I only saw one person actually, but I do. Yeah, it was so funny to me, because he is traveling is not remote job. Aston is not doing remote job. Um, Traveling cannot be considered remote job. It could be considered out of office job. Yeah, it's like me when I do, which I'm gonna start doing soon. When I do home visits, I don't have to be in an office, and I like it, because I will drive somewhere, see a patient, then go to go to McDonald's, drink tea, drink Coke or something like that. And I like it because, look at me. I am working, but I don't have to be at the office with someone, watching my every step I make. But that is not remote. I cannot go and tell you, you know what, look, I can, let me show you how to do remote job like me. That is, I'm like, so he has this webinar where he charges people $10 and, to teach them remote job. And I'm like, you are not doing remote job. And guys, remote job, I signed for flex something like it's supposed to be the best remote job board in the world, in America. And guess what? I have not gotten one single job from that. And let me tell you guys, to apply for remote job in flex whatever, I think it's called flex job or whatever, they will give you the name of the company, and you have to go to the company's board to apply. It's not like Indeed. Indeed, you post your resume, and then Indeed will send you jobs. Like, there will be like me, almost every day I will get 3-4 jobs, and there will be like that. We noticed that, last week you applied for a remote job. So here is something that looks like the job you applied to. So all I have to do is click and I have applied. Whereas with Flex Job, you literally have to do the application. It's almost like, going from like literally going from one company to another company, like we used to do in the past, and sitting there and filling their application. So I was like, so that's how hard it is to get remote jobs. And remember, guys, I have an advantage because I am a nurse practitioner. And a lot of my jobs could be done remotely. But a lot of Auston's, the people that want to get that want Auston, they don't have a degree. They are convinced that they could just get a remote job doing computer stuff. But even the computer stuff, which a lot of it can be done, can be done by remote, they now want you to have some kind of degree, because the remote jobs are becoming almost like a status thing. Like they when there is a difference between, like, when something becomes so in demand, they start putting conditions that really do not make sense. Like I was telling my brother doesn't have a degree, but he knows how, like, he can program, he knows everything. But he says every job he applies says that you need to have a degree. And I was telling him, you know what? It's not because he's like, you know what, Zed, I do not really need the degree. I could do what they require. And I'm telling him, it's because there are so many people applying. They want to, it's almost like screening, right? They are trying to, whittle down, the application pool, right? They are trying to make it smaller. And so remote jobs, if I was looking for a remote job, Auston would definitely not be the person I would be asking advice from. This guy doesn't have a remote job. Let's make that clear. He doesn't have a remote job. Making content, it's almost like me. I'm not doing a remote job right now. I'm not, like, because you guys are watching me from, because I am at my home, doesn't mean I am doing a remote job. last month I wrote an article and I made $1,800. But that's not remote job. Remote job means, you are at your home and you are working from home, not what Auston is doing. What Auston is doing is traveling from place to place and, trying to create a content that way. So and then now he is charging them to show them how to be successful in YouTube like him. And I'm like, if you want someone to be successful like you allow them to use your platform. But people have noticed, this is a recurring complaint against Auston, right? When Auston brings you to his actually it's so funny. What's his name? Razor actually does more. Like Razor, he's not charging people to show them how to be successful with him, but when you go to his panel, you don't even have to be, we don't even have to collaborate with him. When you go to his panel, Razor actually would post the link to your channel. He will also make posts, linking your channel. Whereas Auston, he doesn't even allow people to say the name of their channel on his show. And I'm like, how are you going to, it's not like, Auston doesn't have any secret to learn from, because to be successful in YouTube is not a secret, really. It is just a case of being lucky, right? Auston became, or it's not something you can teach others. For example, Auston became successful because he has a photogenic face, right? You cannot have Auston's face by just watching Auston, right? He also became popular. One reason he became popular really is because he is good looking. Because the passport bros needed someone good looking attacking Black American women, because then they could say, you know what, this guy is good looking, he has good jobs, and he could still not get a girl in America. That is not something you could duplicate. It's not something you can learn. You cannot be you cannot have Auston's face, right? So I don't even know what these men are paying to watch. Like, what is the webinar? What are you learning? And the thing is, yeah. One thing I learned that I like is selection and qualification. Selection just means they are trying to narrow the. So they are trying to reduce the application pool, right? So that's what selection means. Selection means they are just trying to it doesn't really have anything to do with with whether you can do the job or not. They just trying to reduce the application pool. Qualification means they are trying to see if you could do the job. For example, I remember one time they wanted in my job they wanted to fire this girl when I was a security guard. They came up with this that new like security guards have to have either a degree or be enrolled in working to get a degree or applying for a degree, applying for college. And you, of course, you realize you don't need to have a college degree to do the security job, right? You only have you don't even have to speak good English to be a security guard. But you realize, I mean, me, I was like, I asked the guy, the supervisor, I'm like, why do you guys need us to be, college educated? And he's like, no, Sid, it's not about you, it's about this girl. We are trying to get rid of her. And that is so that is how things work, right? Like selection is they are trying to either get rid of someone or just like reduce the pool, right? And then of course qualification is qualification. But with remote job there's a lot of selection, right? Because like Larry, like you said, they have so many applicants, they could. What was the one question I got recently? I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And they asked me if I had if I was if I had doctors in nursing, and I was like, "You don't need to be a doctor in nursing to do nurse practitioner job." But I realized when I read the job is like almost perfect. You could do it from home. Perfect. I mean, not almost every job I'm applying is you could do it from home, but it paid well, and the benefit was really good. Then I realized why when they have when the job is like that, they have so many applicants, right? So they are trying to whittle down. Like the doctor's thing is not really qualification; it's selection. They are just trying to say, you know what? They have to trying to make the pool very small, so that Anyways, so I wouldn't, the one person I wouldn't pay a penny, even if I was desperate for job is Auston. I wouldn't pay Auston to advise me or to get me to get me. So it's really that I don't really understand why these people are paying him hundreds of thousands. And it is so sad to watch because at one point, Austin could just be on live. Literally, when he came to America, he was actually, because when he came to America, it was so sad to watch because um, he hated America. He was miserable in America. He was miserable in America because in America he is no longer the big shot. So uh, he would be on live 24/7, literally. And then he would sleep. Like literally, he would have his phone on, pointing to the camera pointing to him, to his bed, and he would go to sleep. He would be like literally snoring, and there would still be like 100, 200 people still watching. But now you see, I think he thought the reason his viewership went down was because of Africa. But now he is in Sri Lanka, and his viewership is like so bad. What's sad is that and of course, when you have like low, like right now, more people actually watch NYC begging, and that's NYC is like a professional beggar, to the point that when other passport pros want to beg for money, they ask the NYC to do it for them. So to the point that NYC actually has more money but begging, more people watching him beg than Auston has, walking the streets of Sri Lanka. Guys, you have to realize in the passport bros, the street walks usually get more views, but Auston is not getting views. And you also think that he is not. So right now he is no longer, the big shot he once was. And the sad thing about that is, this guy, he believes that he could make a living out of his travels. But and remember, it got to the point he was getting a lot of money. So he started. He had this rule where he will not read your super chat unless it is $5 or more. Like for him to read your super chat, you have to send $5 or more. And that was working for a while. Like people were sending $5 or more so that he could read their chats would be read. But now, like he would be on, like you would see people in the past, you would see people sending 5, 10, like no, you could, like the chat would be running so fast, but like 80% of the chat would be super chats. But now he would be on the live for like 4 or 5 hours, and he probably would get two super chats. So he is not, the once dominant person that he once was. And the thing is that, hold on, that he wants was, and the thing is that um, I don't think this is like a phase. This is, I think, what is like the beginning of the end almost. I don't know if it will, but it is just it's going to be a trend from now on. He is not, I don't think he is going to recover, because what's happening right now is, he is not, what he is doing is not unique. Even, staying in Africa as long as he did, in Africa is no longer, traveling to Africa is no longer, exotic or something like others do not do. There are a lot of people doing what he's doing. So true. So true. So, what I'm gonna say is this: um, Austin, as he gets fewer and fewer people watching him, he will. Oh my God! Oh, you know what? Tomorrow, I actually have. Think I have a 7 o'clock patient or something like that. Let me make sure. Updated and P training. Let me see. between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Good. I don't like to do anything before 9 a.m. Team owner added you to policy and procedures, various resource materials. Let me see. Show. Welcome to Wednesday, April. Anthony started a meeting. View thread. Okay, he started a meeting. Okay, let me see. View recap. Okay. No transcript. Okay. Okay. So, in conclusion, oh guys, I had really bad stomach ache. Oh my god, I couldn't eat for like 2 days. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It was so bad. Then yesterday, I was so nauseated as well. But yesterday I was like, let me go to this Ethiopian restaurant, which is like, guys, I don't like the nearest Ethiopian restaurant is 80 miles from here. 80 miles. But I was craving Ethiopian food so bad, and I didn't have anything in my house. So I drove 80 miles and I went and bought it. Man, I think that just cured everything. I feel so much better now. Like, the one thing I'm gonna stop doing is drinking coffee. People like someone was making fun of me for burning my. They always make fun of He always make fun of my video for burning my food, my coffee, my tea, my coffee. But that is how you make coffee in Ethiopia. And remember, I mean, Ethiopia may not do a lot of things right, but literally coffee comes from our the region in Ethiopia where coffee was discovered, Kaffa. So we know how to make coffee. So which one is it? Is this one? Hold on. Oh. And I actually do think I have lost weight because I didn't eat like a whole 3 days. Okay, so as you guys could see, my coffee is not burnt because let's go back and let's go to here. Hi guys, so I am roasting coffee, but I had to take the it off the stove because my fire alarm started going off. My fire alarm here is very sensitive, so it goes off. And look, the coffee is not even that roasted, but the alarm started going off. But I bought this. I have to, to talk really fast before the fire alarm starts going off again. So I bought this. I bought the pan from the frying pan, I guess you could call it. In Ethiopia, my niece bought it for me. It is made of ceramic. It's made by hand, and the coffee itself, I bought it myself from when I was in Ethiopia. So this is actually the first time I'm making, roasting coffee. The other time I had, my family had sent me roasted coffee, and that's how I was making that. I would grind the coffee, and that's how I was making my coffee, because I drink coffee every day. Like when it is home day, on some days I drink coffee. So so this is what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna make. So as you guys could see, I did not, I do. That's not me burning coffee. That's how you make coffee in Ethiopia. But I am not gonna be making coffee any longer. I'm not gonna be drinking coffee any longer because I am getting old. I have to accept the fact that just like anything, when you get older you cannot do what you used to do. So coffee is getting off. I am going to send the coffee to I'm gonna go to Ethiopian restaurant and give it to them, because I am done with coffee. No more coffee. No more coffee. I am only going to drink tea, because tea is better for your stomach, for your gut. So I'm only going to be drinking coffee. And of course, and I'm also going to stop eating bread, because the bread probably is also what caused, because I was eating a lot of bread. And it is whole, like a lot of fiber is not good for you. So I am going to stop eating bread. I'm gonna stop drinking coffee, and it makes me so sad that I could not drink coffee, because I'm an Ethiopian and we love, 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 love coffee. Like coffee is almost like that's what you grow up drinking. Like in Ethiopia, if people give you coffee, if you pass by someone's house and they are drinking coffee, like they will get out of the house and like grab you, because it's almost considered insulting for someone not to sit and drink your coffee. Like I can't tell you guys how many times when I go to Ethiopia, especially when I go to my mom's and my dad's small village, I am literally hiding behind trees so that they do not like oh dad, come on, Danish, come in, like that's my stuff like that. So now I cannot drink coffee any longer. I am so sad. I am so sad. I cannot believe that I can't drink coffee any longer. Now let us go to my other channel and let's go through my posts. Let's start with what one thing I don't like about I think I should open my my what it's called my super chat, because I truly hold on. Let me see what's saying here. Okay, so let's go to posts. Today, what's his name? Chris posted this. If you all get an opportunity to watch the Netflix doc about the manosphere. It just came out today. The manosphere is successful sci-up on impressionable and misogynistic men. This documentary focuses on some of the content creators who grift the most from men who most likely all have serious unresolved issues, but also feel emboldened by a culture war that give them the hope to be alpha. Oh my God, I love that. I love the description. And someone said this, and I was like, yes, this is what feminists have been saying. And I think that the name is Big Track. It's hilarious. They make all this up. How about maybe this is how most men have always thought, and now it's just on the internet. This is the first time, the first era in history where there is actually male media that isn't controlled by a television company. The manosphere didn't make men think like this. We have been thinking like this. And I love this. And if this guy, I mean, usually passport bros do not even know how to express themselves in their own. It's not just that they cannot express themselves in their own language, which is English. It's just that because they they do not engage. Like a lot of the time, there is like this passport bro. I do not even like when he responds to me, I don't even read it because he doesn't engage in the post. Like engage in the post. If I post this about Ethiopia, I'm talking about Ethiopia. I'm not talking about feminism. Engage in the post. But so this is very. I like it. I like it when someone engages in your post and makes a very very intelligent response. And like he said, manosphere is not like people say, the manosphere is, leading people, men astray. No, the manosphere is basically saying what men want to say. And this is what feminists have been saying. Most men are misogynists. Of course, Chris is not part of it. I mean, he is actively. Chris is not just not misogynist, because a lot of men think not being misogynist is enough. But Chris is doing what you want, decent men to do, which is he's fighting misogyny. So now, like this guy says, misogyny, thinking women, should be their slaves. believing that women are created to serve them, that women are not humans, is not something the manosphere created. It is something that has been there forever. Men have been, I am reading the Bible now, and I'm like, oh my God, the Bible is so sexist, so misogynist. And the Bible in most cases is the earliest written work in a lot of language. I think in Ge'ez, I think the Bible, Ge'ez is where Amharic, my first language, comes from. And I think the Bible was the first written book. And the Bible is literally, reading the Bible is almost like, reading Manosphere, like watching Manosphere. In the Bible, women only exist to provide sexual favor, like to be sexual entertainment for men. And when you read the Bible, especially, right now I am, in the first, and I don't even think it's just, I'm reading the Amharic Bible, and the first book, Genesis, is called the Fetr, or the Fitrat. And when you read Orit Zavitrat, what you read is misogyny. Women only exist in the Bible to create, to be baby machines, to be baby factories. The women are not doing anything, like they do not talk to God. God doesn't tell them to do this or do that. God doesn't bless them, or when he blesses them, he blesses their son. The women are almost, they are almost second class. Not almost, they are second class. Like in every, so manosphere, like this guy said, manosphere is not something new. Like, and this guy, the only thing I do not agree with him is the idea that men didn't have control of the media before the internet, before social media. I'm like, no, men have been, like, the Bible literally was written by men. The Bible is one of the most read, it's not even the most read book in the world. So men have had control of media for a long time. The time that men didn't have control of media, probably like a decade or two. Remember, TV was controlled by men in the 1950s. When you watch I Love Lucy, what you see is misogyny. When you watch the 1960s movies, sitcoms, what you watch is misogyny. So yes, the manosphere is not something new. The manosphere is how most men believe and think. But in recent years, like maybe from 1970s to the 2000s, those where the media was actively suppressing those views. But now those views are out in the open. And the great thing is that, you could, like, there are so many surveys, polls being of, yes, Auston is broke. I don't know why he's broke. This is the thing that I don't understand. If you make $3,000 a month, you should be living a very comfortable life. A very comfortable life in Africa. $3,000 is what a lot of top doctors make in Africa. So I do not like, and I feel like he should be making $3,000. I don't know. To be honest, YouTube is not really. YouTube doesn't pay a lot. He's not tricking. I know tricking means paying for women, but he's not. Look at him. That guy, I don't think he tricks. He is not. He is. I don't think he is. I mean, women who have gone out with Austin, at least the African women, have told me that he doesn't pay a lot. He the most, like, it's not like, I don't think people, Austin is not, he doesn't pay women, he doesn't give women money. And what was I gonna say? So yeah. Skylar, in Ethiopia, if you made $3,000, you are living like a king. My sister, the doctor, makes 1,000. Not like she. Hold on. When her last job, she made 70,000 birr a month. At that time, that was a little less than 1,000. Now, I have to be honest. My sister, if she was like, my sister lives a really good life because her husband is a university professor, but he travels abroad. So whenever he travels abroad, he brings money. But even if you are okay, let me take my. You know what? I'm probably not a good example because if I were to live in Ethiopia, I probably would pay 6,600. I mean 700 a month for my apartment. Then 700. Then what would I do with the rest? Then you might be right, Skylar, but I think even as an American, $3,000 should be very, very, very good. I think if you lived in Ethiopia, what would your, like, the thing is, I don't even know. I don't know why Austin doesn't do this, but a lot of people, what they do is when they are me, I would not do it because I could cook for myself. But I think 3,000 a month as an American should be more than enough. I actually think 2,000 should, you should live comfortably with 2,000. For example, in Ethiopia, internet, and the internet is much better than here in America. Internet, you could probably do, you could pay $50 for internet. Electricity, probably $50. Food, you could, you probably could I don't know. Now this is the part. Like for me, if I'm in Ethiopia, I mean, I love Ethiopian food. So $100 probably would last me a month. And if I were to hire a maid in Ethiopia is like the most, like the highest paid are like $50. So with that, you will still have a lot of money left, and you could go, you could go out. Yes, I am hi Sarah, how are you, my dear? Okay. Yeah, so in Ethiopia you could literally make you could live literally. So Austin not Austin really not Austin not getting not being able to live. I don't know. I maybe YouTube is truly not a good place for to make money because why is it not? YouTube is not a good place to make money. I don't know, maybe. But let's talk about this guy, this big truck guy. I truly, truly appreciate him because, like I said, he gave a very. I hope I don't sound. He gave a very good answer, a very good answer, and I hope I do not sound snobbish, like I don't sound condescending, and I'm not being condescending to be honest. But oh wow, Sarah, thank you. So Sarah, you watched the. So what did they say? Sarah, let me actually. I'm not doing this, to impress you or anything, but I'm gonna pin your comment because. So what did they say? Me, I got rid of my. Could hear me, but my computer froze, so I'm literally having to turn, to trying to force it down. Oh, it's updating something. Okay. Anyway, so you watched it. So as you guys could see, I am now. I don't know if I could share. Is the share thing? I don't think is the share thing is on. Um, you know, Oh, there is a link between all kinds of bigotry and the passport, bro. It is so funny to me when I see black men hyping up white manosphere guys, because the white manosphere guys, just like they hold sexist view, they also hold racist view. They, for example, believe that black men are hypersexual, violent, and that low IQ. They don't want the black men to to interracially date white women because they believe that will lower the the IQ, the general IQ. They are xenophobic, of course, but the black manosphere. There are African guys who watch, who watch and repeat whatever the white manosphere say, but those white manospheres do not want those African guys in their country. So, someone said, I don't know if it is Larry who said this, but inclusivity and exclusivity are inclusive. Like when you start including one group, you have to include more. And the same thing with excluding. When you exclude one group of people, you have to continue excluding more and more people. But the manosphere, the great thing is that women, young women are not being influenced or being intimidated by the manosphere. In fact, you watch, I have been following so many trends, so many polls, and poll after poll shows that young women today are more, more liberal than they were in the 1980s. Young women today are more likely to say that they do not plan to get married. Like that number actually is scary if you are conservative, but for me it is enjoyable. It's something that makes me happy. And one number I thought was that in 1970, 90% of 12th graders say that 12th graders women wanted to get married. Now the number has almost flipped. It's like only 10% who say that they want to get married. More and more young women are getting married later and later in life. More and more young women are saying they want to have their school, they want to put their career before motherhood. So the only place the manosphere is succeeding is in making the content creators rich, because these people who watch the manosphere, they have this they fill them with this delusion that the women are going to start to submit because the men now know their power, the men are powerful, yeah, they have seen the light. And the manosphere, if you really look at it, is it's nothing but a scam being played on young men, which is good, because as long as the scam is on bad people, you should not feel bad. When for example, when Trump scams his followers, selling them, he was charging them $500 for a Trump phone that you can literally get it for like $50 on Temu, literally. A phone that does absolutely nothing. And me, when I hear that, I love it, And it's the same thing with the manosphere. I don't have any problem with the manosphere because the manosphere is not changing young girls. I would be worried if young women became more conservative, became, buying into the manosphere propaganda, but the young women are not, buying into the propaganda. The people that this propaganda are affecting, like this this there is this thing that makes me laugh today. Today, like in the past, if you were like in the 1950, if you are a man and you say, you know what, I will only marry a woman who is virgin, who would submit to me, even though the women would resent it, like, you know what, he is not virgin, but I have to be virgin. He doesn't make a lot of money, but I have to submit to him. Even though they resent that, they would still do it because they do not have any option. That's their only option. But now today, you could say, you know what, I will only marry a virgin. I will only marry a woman that submits to me. And the woman would be like, yeah, stop. The woman would stop. The woman would be like, yeah, they will laugh at you and walk. And when this happens, when you realize that, today the women are in equal position as you should be compromising. You should be adjusting, like men should be adjusting their expectation. And instead, the manosphere tells them, the manosphere is telling the women or the men of today to demand things that the men of the 1980s wouldn't even demand. And the women of today are much better off economically than the women of 1980. So instead of telling them to adjust to reality, they give them this delusion that you could demand women to to be beautiful, to be submissive, to be virgin, to do this and that, and women are like, I don't want to do that. So the only person that is losing because of the manosphere are men, like young men. I was watching this get together thing where the main content creators of the manosphere, there was that the pedophile, what's his name, Andrew Tate, or Andrew Tate and other people, and then there was fresh, like the Myron, the Sudanese, the racist Sudanese guy, and in the men were seated together, and Myron started talking to to his, like, I think it was being live streamed, and he started talking to his audience. He said that in the background you see a group of absolutely drop dead gorgeous girls, very young girls in the back. And he tells the live stream audience that he is ignoring those girls because that is how you get women. He told them, when you ignore women, they become interested in you. And you could see the women, they, like, in the back, they're like, they wanted to talk to they like to Myron. And he, the Myron is telling the audience, look, I am ignoring them, and that's making them want me even more. And I'm like, you literally paid for those women to be in that in that place, that with you. So of course these women are acting. They are not They don't want to because they want to. They are they are performing. They are performing something. They are they are paid to perform. But this is going to the audience. A lot of young guys. They are probably going to believe that is real life. They do not understand. They would say, Myron is he's not good looking guy, but he has a line of beautiful women wanting to be with him. You know why? Because he's a millionaire. The average guy will never be a millionaire. The manosphere, the only people that the manosphere benefits are men like Myron, because they could sell. They are making millions of dollars selling lies, selling delusion to men, to young men. And there was a time when I was like, oh my God, you know what? This thing is dominating social media, and it's going to influence young women, but it's not influencing young women. Yeah, we see young women making the soft life, I want my man to take care of me, but those are not really like. When you look at data shows that young women are more and more liberal. They are, they do not, like in the past, the life goal of women was to get married and have children. But now young women, getting married, like it was so, like I saw one poll that said in the past, getting married was the number one or number two goal of young women. Now it's like 9 or 10. And in fact, for liberal women, it doesn't even rank in the top 10. And it's not just like, in the liberal women, it doesn't rank that in the top 10. Even in conservative women, getting married ranks lower than it does for, conservative men. So right now, this, the manosphere, I hope women realize the manosphere doesn't hurt us as long as, we stay committed to feminism. We stay committed to, to each other. We stay, we educate young women. You don't have to get married. Marriage is not all. It is, life is the path. So anyway, it was so, I cannot, I have not read. Let me sign back on this thing, because truly I am so happy. I think Chris would be so happy to find out that your opinion on it, because I think he was truly. And I know why Chris is concerned about the passport, the manosphere, and I would be too if I was a man, because Chris, Chris is actually one of those people who actually loves young men, young black men. Chris cares about young black men more than the passport bros do. What the passport bros want to do is, they want to lead them. I'm trying to see how, my and tomorrow I have to wake up early, so I do need. Okay. So let me read your note, my dear, because I am so glad some towards. Okay, you also get to see the hypocrisy. Oh, I remember. I have this. This is a good point. Let's be honest. I have been saying this. When you hear the way they talk about black women, Shigun, one of the the big what do they call them? The black manosphere? Yeah, the black manosphere. The big shots in the black manosphere. In fact, he claims he's one of the creator is O'Shea Jackson. O'Shea Jackson literally spends his day degrading black women. They use the same word, like I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because the thumbnail he uses of black women is the thumbnail he uses is this one. Is for me, I mean, it is so telling, because let me see. And I am actually after this, my God, 18. I cannot believe in the past I used to stay on live for like 12 hours. Like I probably didn't have life, to be honest, because now I can, okay. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this thumbnail. This could only come, I mean, in the past, this would have been a thumbnail of not just white people, racist white people. Look how the black woman is depicted as this angry black woman. And what I love, and I would forever love about the black woman, is she has, her natural hair. And I have been saying this for, hold on, not on. I have been saying this for a long time. People like, I have been telling you guys, and if you date white men and black men, I used to date black men, and one thing you would see is black men, you actually get more attention from black men when you wear what do you call it, wigs and weaves. You get more attention from white men when you have your natural hair. It's almost like, they're like black men will give you attention when you have natural hair, if your natural hair is 3C, if it is curly, or if it is silky. So look at how, and this man, like people like O'Shea Jackson would tell you that they are they want black women to wear their natural hair, but this is how they present with black women with natural hair. For them, our natural hair is synonymous with being angry. Like if they were asked to draw an angry black woman, they will draw her with her natural hair. because they associate everything black with bad. And that is, racism. That's the KKK, right? Like saying that, blackness is pathological is the KKK. So yes, they are, remember, O'Shea Jackson literally claims that he was one of the three men who created the black manosphere. And here is him. And the funny thing for me is that look at the Asian girl. The Asian girl on the thumbnail looks, clean, her, nothing on her skin, nothing. But look at the real Kenyan. Look at what the real.
And 1-800-CONTACT makes it so easy to renew your prescription or order new contacts.
No, but they say all Filipinos like black men.
And now look at the black women. I think that those are the black women who are complaining. Look at none of them have short, what do you call it, afro. So this exposes his racism, right? I mean, the racism of black manosphere, because the black manosphere do not like black women. Of course, it's not just black women they don't like. They don't like blackness at all. They hate kinky hair. They hate short hair. They hate black skin. They hate everything black, and they associate everything black with bad. Imagine being a black person with a platform, a big platform like O'Shea Jackson does, and using that platform to degrade black women, to degrade blackness, and to uplift whiteness. Because this guy edited that girl, that Asian girl, to look. Yes, on mulattoes. Yeah, and my sister, my niece, a lot of people think she is mixed. A lot of black men tell her they like her hair because her hair is very it's it looks like mulatto, like you said. But imagine being a black person and using your platform to uplift white people, to uplift Asian women, to clean up their image. This guy actually cleaned up the image of Asian women and degrade the image of black people. That is because a lot of these black men are black haters. They hate that they are black. They are trying to they will do anything and everything to not be black, but they are black. Anyways, that's all I was going to say. Thank you guys and have a nice night. And I will not delete this.